what will happen is Gavin Newsom will win, and we'll just have 4 more years of terrible neoliberal policies that gut the working class in America, that make life worse for everybody. He'll continue to kill 500,000 people a year with U.S. sanctions. I don't know if you guys have seen that recent report from The Lancet, that U.S. sanctions kill over 564,000 people every single year on average, insane. Over the last 40 years averaged out.
If you add that up, that's tens of millions of people.
Tens of millions. And they talk about how many people has socialism killed. Yeah. Come on, get out of my face. All right, welcome back to Ask the Next Question. This is episode 11.
Episode 11, man.
Bro, check out our new digs, y'all.
Check this out, man. We not in my crib no more.
Yeah, we moved up from the DJI mic mini.
Man, I got a whole microphone I can hold. I probably shouldn't hold it, but
there's somebody back there listening to us. This is pretty crazy, bro.
I know it's not as intimate, but I kind of like the lights.
Yeah,
I like the camera.
I'm digging it, dude. So it's been a wild week. There's obviously too much to talk about to even fit in.
It's by design, for sure.
Yeah, for real. And, obviously we have, everything from, the great Hasan Piker controversy, absolutely. Gavin Newsom controversy of 2026. They will talk about this in history books, I believe. It will be a defining moment where we look back and say, hey, this is when America went off the rails.
2026, that was the year.
Yeah, when that lady from Oklahoma, really stuck Hasan with
question.
Yeah, exactly.
The big question.
We got the Bad Bunny halftime show.
You gave a take that we'll get into, but I didn't love at the moment.
Yeah, we will have to talk about that because I hope to convert you, my friend.
Good luck.
My evangelical,
I'm skeptical.
my evangelical roots have never quite gone away.
Oh yeah, so. Well, don't look at me like that with the evangelical eyes, the Bill Bright, the Billy Graham eyes. I don't like that.
I love it. Well, listen, we'll probably talk about Obama a little bit. I love to talk about my favorite drone striker in chief.
It's tough. He's still my favorite president, but I don't know if that is really saying much.
Yeah, he is me too. He's my favorite war criminal. Like if I had to have a beer with a war criminal,
one, okay,
it would be Barack Obama, hands down. And actually, dude, it's crazy because all this stuff that we have to talk about. I saw you post a video on your TikTok about a book that I actually read earlier last year that you just finished reading. Yeah. And I was like, yo, this is actually the perfect book to frame a lot of the stuff we wanted to talk about.
Don't talk about politics.
The book is called Don't Talk About Politics.
Yeah, which is ironic because that's what we're going to probably be doing for the next hour or so.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's an interesting book. Honestly, I think it was helpful for me kind of thinking through my own political engagement. So the premise of the book is don't talk about politics. It's not the entire thesis of the book, but I think she's kind of hoping to kind of convert us away from this idea that political action comes through dialogue, this idea that we are in this marketplace of ideas and that through exchanging ideas, that's how we create political change in the world. It kind of is back to the Ezra Klein, Charlie Kirk did politics the right way, that sort of idea that is kind of popular in America, in the American zeitgeist. She kind of doesn't really agree with that. And I think she makes some good points.
Your overall takeaway from the book was positive?
Yes.
Me, when I read it, I was like, every other paragraph, I was like, oh, that's solid. That's good. And then we're like, what are you talking about? Disinformation campaigns don't work. Somebody should tell this to the Russians and the CIA because I guess they've been failing this whole time.
It's interesting. Okay. So tell me a little bit about like maybe one particular critique that you had.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of like what I just said right there. I think that, so what she does well is she locates like the center of political change, not in just debating ideas or talking about things, but in actually being present physically and engaged, which we talk about all the time. Like, hey, if you really want to make a change, don't just consume our content or anyone's content. Go join the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Go join the Democratic Society of America, the DSA. Like, get involved in a real organization where you can actually do things to work together. But like sometimes in the book, it felt to me like that does not preclude or exclude rather the need to actually talk about things and figure things out, because what do you then do with your action? If we're all in community, but we don't actually know how to interpret what's happening to us, we're not actually able to understand like what's at stake, then it doesn't really go anywhere. So to me, I was like, yes, you have to do both and.
Yeah, I think that I maybe had a different takeaway because I agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
I think I heard her as saying there's specific context in which having political conversation is useful.
Yes.
We're just overestimating or maybe overshooting the relevance and the power of political conversation. Because I think I was just reading yesterday one of the chapters where she was talking about community and friendships, right? And so she says having conversations with trusted friends where there's a level that you can push each other and challenge each other because there's this established relationship. In those contexts, people will often change their mind. And I think kind of her critique is not necessarily, again, not talking about politics at all, but it's the idea of persuasion. What is persuasive, right? Is it watching a Jubilee video where you have some MAGA people and some Democratic socialists arguing with one another, right? Like that's the idea that is popular in our day, that if you get two people in the room and they can just have the conversation and hash it out, maybe you'll change someone's mind, and maybe the people who are watching that will have their minds changed, or maybe they'll have some of their preconceived notions challenged. And she's saying it's not just that that's useless, it's that it actually only goes to reinforce the narrative that you came in to the conversation with. And even when it comes to like talking outside of just maybe a personal relationship context, right? But doing things like with what we're doing, having political conversations, the idea I think that she was trying to communicate is that there's a section of people that she calls passive allies, right? There's people that may share generally your same ethical system or similar values, but they may not have the precise political alignment that you have. So those people are the people that you should be, targeting your message for.
Which is who I make my content for. Like what I always have to remind myself is like my content on Instagram, TikTok, Substack here, my content is for the people that it's for, and it's not for the people who is not for. Like if you are so ideologically out of line that you're just going to see it and hate, which I have those.
Absolutely, we all do.
Dude, there's a dude that's been living in my comment section. He has like a lot. He has like 300,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah, okay. He's been living in my comment section. He's got like a 400 comment thread in one of my videos. And he's like debating people. And I just come in every once in a while. I'm like, yo, get off my dick.
He's hyper fixated on your page right now.
He really is.
Okay.
And he literally is like, why don't you go cry? Why are you crying about it? And I'm like, you're the one in my comment section. It's kind of funny. Man, but people like that, my content's not for him. I'm not even interested in being nice to him. Right. But there is a whole segment of people out there who are just like me that I have an idea of what I think and feel, but I don't know quite how I get there logically. I don't quite, I have other things that I believe that are contradicting that, and I don't know what to do with those. And so for me, my political journey really was watching a lot of content of stuff that really hit me in a way that was uncomfortable. I didn't feel good, and but it unsettled something in me that challenged me. And so I think that that's why talking is still, very important, right? And so there's people who will get into my comments and they will disagree, but they do it in like a reasonable way. And so I'll engage them. And you see me post some of these, like people that come in kind of hot, right? Like this is the worst take ever. And like 9 comments later, they're literally going like, oh, wow, thank you so much for explaining that to me. I really understand. I think there is this fake idea out there that feels to me a lot like a CIA psyop, like a disinformation campaign to make everybody believe that nobody changes their minds, right? Like you can't change anybody's mind. People change their minds all the time. And, but also there's other people in the comments who will just say something like, I don't know if you saw one dude commented, he was like, this dude probably has a pride flag in his church. And I pinned his comment, and then so that everyone would see it. I called it the pin of shame, and I just responded, "Yeah, I actually left my pride flag in your mom's bedroom the other night. Can you please tell her to bring it with her?"
Just deserve that sort of treatment, man.
They really do.
Yeah, and I appreciate you that you do that, because I'm typically more of a person that claps back. I made a video the other day. Actually, no, I commented on this dude's video, and he made a video about my comment. And we'll get into this discussion in a moment, but it was around the Hasan Piker's take about Gavin Newsom. And I was like, why would we capitulate to supporting Gavin Newsom right now? Like, we should
ridiculous.
Be wanting to push people for the left. And he made a video responding to my comment and said basically like, it's tough to be informed about what's happening in the world. Part of it is good because you know what's going on, but part of it is bad because you got to deal with fucking idiots like this guy.
About you? Yo, send me that dude's address. No.
I'll send you the video. I honestly thought it was hilarious because again, he went on to reiterate his point, and then somebody got in the comments and said, well, nobody has done more to stop Donald Trump than Gavin Newsom. I said, what?
That's amazing. Strongly worded letters,
He sent a lot of tweets.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, he did some insults back and forth.
Yeah, and he's entertaining. I'll give him that.
But, one example that she gives in the book that, because it's been I read it like right after it came out, was about like MAGA people, right? That like, she says, you know, they had all of these beliefs about like morality. A lot of them are like evangelical Christians. But in order to support Trump, you saw them abandon all that. And she was using that to prove the point that people don't really change their mind. They'll change other. But no, like they changed their mind on almost all of their values.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And this is something that I want to ask you about, because I think that there's some nuance to this topic, because I don't think that those people were necessarily persuaded, but they were bombarded with certain ideas over and over. And I think in one of the earlier chapters, she talks about how once you've kind of locked into a certain belief and it's become part of your identity, it's not that these people got persuaded to give up their belief in morality and that morality matters for my leaders or that Christian values are important. It's that it's become so normalized for it not to matter that they just kind of let those other periphery beliefs kind of fall to the wayside. So they didn't necessarily get debated or logically.
But it's still it's still talking about, it's still communication that does that, and it's propaganda, right?
Yes.
And you know, propaganda is not a dirty word. It's just, you know, that you can use it both ways. I view a lot of my content as propaganda. You know, I'm trying to do agitprop for the left to move people further left. You know,
and it's like once you introduce certain concepts to the conversation and you do that over and over and over again, it's not necessarily as if somebody heard a particular argument and then said, oh, that makes sense. This logical argument that I heard before no longer holds because I heard this other idea. It's become normalized. It just starts to take
up more and more space in their psyche.
And you're paying more attention.
I think that's exactly
That's
right.
exactly what the right is doing.
Yeah.
And so I think, to your point, like that is part of what I think maybe she misses in that book.
So I felt like this applied to a lot of the stuff we wanted to talk about. You already brought up the Gavin Newsom, you know, Hasan Piker situation. You want to, because there might be some people who haven't seen it. Yeah,
we're going to play a clip here in a second, but there's a dialogue and a debate that kind of flares up, from what I'm understanding, pretty often between liberals and leftists. We talked about the dichotomy in the past, but Hasan Piker was asked a question by, what's this lady's name again? She has a pretty big podcast, Jennifer Welch.
Yeah, I just call her the I've had it lady.
She's the Oklahoma, I don't know if she's quite old enough to be a grandma yet. Maybe she's America's Oklahoma mom, the liberal mom, but she's blown up pretty recently on social media.
I like her.
Yeah, I like her as well. So she had, I don't know who the other guy that was on the podcast is, but she asked Hasan Piker basically would he vote for, if it came down to J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, what he would do. So let's play the clip.
Of course he said J.D. Vance, right?
Of course he did.
Or J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom.
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Me
of course,
too.
100%.
I wouldn't blink. What about you, Hasan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris.
I love how they stopped it right there.
Right. He didn't get a chance to fully explain his take, but I don't know. What do you think? There's been a lot of hoopla and conversation and debate, and I think some of it in bad faith.
Yeah, you know, so there's this idea that, like, you know, and Adolph Reed is a scholar who I really respect. He's professor emeritus at University of Pennsylvania. He's a political scientist. He's a Marxist, kind of a traditional Marxist, and or a democratic socialist, you could say. And you know, he like back in 2014 wrote an article in Harper's where he was basically like, look, for my entire life, the Democrats have said that every election we've had is the most important election of our lifetime, and that if we don't, in 2014,
okay,
he's like, if we don't win this election, then we're gonna lose all of this stuff.
Yes,
and none of it really focusing around policy choices that benefit people's lives materially in terms of everybody, but specifically around specific identity groups, right? Things that, you know, I support and I think that we would want to do better. And what he says is like, what we've actually seen throughout the course of his life is, because people say, if we don't vote for Trump or if we don't vote for a Democrat and a Republican wins, the Republican is going to do more harm now, right? Yeah. And that is true. Right. But what Adolph Reed Jr. was arguing in this article is that, yeah, but over time, what happens is the Democrats cater to the right. They tell the left, like, you got to get in line. And then everything moves further to the right. And so that over time, that philosophy actually ends up doing more harm to all of the marginalized people in our country, to all the people all around the world, because we're just consistently moving it back. Some people call it the Ratchet effect, right? When a Democrat gets into office, or pardon me, when a Republican gets into office, they ratchet it to the right. But how does a ratchet work? You can't really turn it back left. It just kind of stops in place and holds. And then a Republican gets back into office and it moves there. So when I look at a situation like this, I'm like, yeah, like, okay, if Gavin Newsom wins the next election, let me just tell you what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, to be honest, I would probably end up voting for Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, likewise.
I mean, maybe not in Illinois because it doesn't matter, but if I was in a swing state, so I'm not going to judge anybody for doing that. And maybe I wouldn't. To be honest, I don't know how I would answer the question if it was posed to me. I'm not really exactly sure. But if Gavin Newsom were to win this next election, which is a silly conversation to have because he's not even the candidate. We're 2.5 years out. We haven't had primaries. Right. And which, by the way, that's a part of the control is they want to establish the frame right now. Right. Like I did sales for so long. In sales, you will not be able to close at the end if you didn't start with the proper framing at the beginning. Right? Like, hey, do you want life insurance? No. Right? That's the framing. Yeah. But if you ask instead, the framing is, hey, if something were to happen to you and you pass away prematurely, would you want your family's standard of living to be better, worse, or at a minimum stay the same? I want to at least stay the same. Now you're cooking. So they just want to control the framing. Sure. But what will happen is Gavin Newsom will win, and we'll just have 4 more years of terrible neoliberal policies that gut the working class in America, that make life worse for everybody. He'll continue to kill 500,000 people a year with U.S. sanctions. I don't know if you guys have seen that recent report from The Lancet that U.S. sanctions kill over 564,000 people every single year on average insane. Over the last 40 years averaged out.
If you add that up, that's tens of millions of people.
Tens of millions. And they talk about how many people has socialism killed. Yeah. Come on, get out of my face. They also count the amount of Nazis that were killed, or by the way, in terms of the amount of people that communists killed, because it was Russia killing all the Nazis in the little black book of communism that they have. Yeah. Kind of crazy. But what will happen is we'll have all these failures, and then somebody worse than J.D. Vance will come in. You know what I mean? Or J.D. Vance will come in. It'll just ratchet further to the right. So now is not our time to talk about some hypothetical scenario about what we will or won't do in some fake election between Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance. Hopefully, if I'm an atheist, but if there's a God, he takes them both home before then anyways. We don't need either of them around.
Before 2020.
Hey, yeah, come Lord Maranatha and whatnot.
We need it.
But, and then something worse will happen. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I think the right never talks like this.
No.
I've never heard anyone on the right say that we need to vote for insert regular Republican, John McCain-esque George W. Bush here so that we don't end up with Kamala Harris. Partly it's because there isn't really a true left-wing movement in America, so they don't really have to worry about this problem in the same way that people on the left have to worry.
By the way, why isn't there a true left movement? Because of exactly the conversation we're happening.
The Democrats seem to be doing the job of the Republicans for them.
That's right.
And so, but one, it's too far in advance to be doing that. But I think the thing that's been frustrating me on social media, which, part of my problem for even engaging in it, but, I'm starting to kind of change my tune a little bit on that, because I think there's this prevailing, this is a sidebar, idea that social media is somehow less important. It's not real. I don't want to minimize the conversation that happens on social media, notwithstanding the conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Because my mind and your minds have been open to a lot of different ideas. I've seen book recommendations, things that I take and dig deeper on because of things I've seen on social media. So I just want to say that first. Just because a conversation is happening on social media, that doesn't mean that it's somehow less serious or less important. But the conversation that I've seen is that people on the more liberal side of things are saying, well, if you don't support whatever Democrat we have that goes out in 2028, you are basically effectively a moderate,
right? Yeah,
or a secret MAGA person, a Republican. You're actually an op of our cause, because you don't care about the marginalized communities that are going to be harmed by whatever Republican president comes after Donald Trump.
Right.
Which is a very frustrating conversation for me as a black man who has family members who are immigrants who I'm worried about under this current administration. But I still have a leftist perspective, because the ultimate reality is I'm not looking to just see the next 4 years be less painful for me, even though that is hard. I think one of the things that has been challenging about this past year is that in ways that I don't think many of us have had to reckon with in the past, a lot of the imperial harmful policies, we've called it the imperial boomerang, it's coming back to us.
Right, yeah.
And so we're feeling the effects of fascism at home in a way that, especially people in my generation, even black people, right? Historically, we've experienced this, but in the past 30 years, the whole nation is experiencing fascism in a way that is shocking to the system by design. And so it does make me even at times think, damn, I just want some relief.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But
I get that
to
feeling.
your point, right? Like Gavin Newsom may give you a little bit of relief for 4 years, but then, like you said, who knows? Maybe Stephen fucking Miller would be president in 2032.
That's right.
Right. So if we don't actually
my
get to the
God.
root cause of the problem that we're facing, we're just going to continue to go in the same direction. If we don't pull some people further left and say we actually need to have a left-wing movement. And so Marco Rubio was talking today. I was just watching this. It wasn't today. I was watching the video today, but he was talking in Munich. Did you see the
I saw that
Council?
I saw people clap for him, and I was like, my little heart can't take this right now.
Yeah, so he was talking about how Europe and America need to unite to reinforce and renegotiate this empire that has happened in years past. He's lamenting the decline of the American and European empires, and we need to unite. And he called out the anti-colonial movements, the communist, the leftist movements that have pushed back against the imperial empires of Europe and America. So when I hear that, and then I hear this conversation, I have to ask people who are liberals, who do the fascists see as an actual threat to them?
Yeah.
They don't see the Democrats as a threat.
No way.
He sees the leftists as a threat to their reinstitution of this empire.
That's
so
exactly
that should tell you something.
100%. And, you know, honestly, like for me, the way I look at Democrats is they're a progressive mirage, even on the identitarian issues, right? Because one, economically, I grew up in, you know, Section 8 housing in North Philly under, you know, during Bill Clinton's presidency. And I remember all of a sudden us not having as much food as we had. I remember all of a sudden life getting a lot harder. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I understand that that's because Bill Clinton led us into completely gutting our social safety nets in this country, right? We have NAFTA that's happened under Democrats. The repeal of Glass-Steagall happened under Democrats. So one, they're moving further and further to the right. You know, I love Thomas Frank's book, Listen Liberal, or Whatever Happened to the Party of the People, where he kind of details that slide under Clinton and the DLC, the Democratic Leadership Council or Committee or whatever it was, of their intentional framing of like, we've got to move more out of being the party of the workers to being the party of the corporations if we want to get the money and keep winning. But then you can go, yeah, but like, look, like we got gay marriage. We had like
all good things.
All good things. We got all, you know, more rights for trans people, which there's never really been more rights for trans people. It's been like a cultural victory that we've won. But even still, even with all of that, like they have been, the Democrats have been happy to allow the Supreme Court to do all of that work for them. And now what's happened as a result is, you know, it looks to me like Obergefell is going to be on the table again. Like I can see them lining it up.
The rumblings are happening.
Yeah. And, you know, we lost Roe v. Wade, right? Like all those things are crumbling. And you go, well, what could the Democrats have done? I don't know. How about one of the 2 or 3 times that they had control of all 3 branches, they could have actually codified abortion into law. Yeah. They could have codified gay marriage into law. They could have codified trans rights into law. Of course, they never wanted to do those things. Now, I'm old enough to remember that when I was in undergrad and, you know, I was a far right wing Christian, you know, evangelical, you know, Christian nationalist.
Been converted.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, I walked into a dorm room of another guy on my hall at my Christian university, Oral Roberts University, and he had an Obama and a Hillary poster. And I was like, what? And I was like, how can you do that?
Wait, Obama and Hillary?
He had an Obama and Hillary.
What year was this?
It was 2007.
Okay, so it was
like
the primaries.
Primaries. And he's like, yeah, I like both of them, but I like Obama more. Okay. And I was like, that's crazy. You're a Christian. How could you do that? What about gay marriage? What about abortion? And you know what he was able to say to me? He's like, well, neither of them are pro-gay marriage because they weren't.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They shift, but they never really shifted enough to actually even do anything about it. They just let the courts do it. So what victories are we really going to win? What are we actually going to fight back? Like, this is our time to say, no, fuck you, Gavin Newsom. Fuck you, Democratic Party. Like, we actually want to fight for the people. We actually want to do something. But this does bring me back to the book.
Sure.
Because one of the things that Adolph Reed Jr. talks about is he says, Americans have mistaken voting for politics.
Exactly.
And
that's the point.
And he's like, look, like, yes, it's great to say that, but we will never have real political power unless we organize that political power into a strong enough coalescence of people that get together and say, hey, this entire block of people are going to withhold our votes from the Democratic Party unless you do this. Right now, there's a lot of talk like, well, no, you can never move the Democratic Party further left. You could if you have political power.
Right.
And what does that look like? Joining local organizations. Those local organizations working together. Stop the stupid leftist infighting constantly. Yep. We can debate ideas and have different takes on Lenin or Stalin without totally eating each other alive. But at the same time, we'll never get people to move towards organizing to be able to build that political power in person unless somebody says on social media or on the news or somewhere where people can hear, yeah, I won't vote for Gavin Newsom. Because I've had multiple conversations with people that have been like, that I hadn't even considered that. Mm-hmm. You know, because I put a little story up and people were responding like, because in my story, I didn't do a video about it, but I put that clip and I just said, you know, for the people saying that if you don't vote for Gavin Newsom, then you don't care about gay people, you don't care about immigrants in America, we don't understand that that is its own kind of supremacy, American supremacy. If all we actually are concerned about with our politics is the safety of the people who live in the imperial core, the comfort of the people who live in the imperial core, and I do care about that.
Absolutely.
I do care about all those
My
groups.
family lives here.
I have children that live here. I care about it. But if we are willing to say, in order for it to be safer for us here, I'm going to commit to supporting a candidate who will for sure continue the U.S. sanctions that I just said kill 500,000 people a year. By the way, 250,000 of them, more than half, are children. So what we're saying is you have to be willing to commit that we will for sure support a candidate that is going to murder 250,000 children every year for the 4 years that they're in office, or you don't care about all these different marginalized groups in America. No, I care about all of them, but we have some time. Let's start to organize.
Yeah, and I think that's, the purpose of this conversation should be, where do we want to go ultimately?
Yes.
And if you're not willing, like you said, to withhold your vote from a Gavin Newsom and risk, maybe you do lose to J.D. Vance in 2028. Does that mean that in 2032 or in 2030, you have an opportunity to get someone who actually aligns with your true political ideals?
Yes.
Is that worth it?
That's right. And
I think that back to, the book that you were referencing before, this idea that this next election is the last election in American history is keeping the people on the left paralyzed. And I think, and I hope that liberals like, me and you were both more liberal at one period of time, right? Like these can be the people who are those passive allies who do, according to people like Obama, believe in the similar ideals, that we do believe in justice and humanity.
Absolutely.
We do agree that anti-colonialism was not a bad thing, like Marco Rubio says.
Yeah.
We believe that is a good thing. We believe in a multipolar world where one nation doesn't get to dictate terms to every single nation and exploit them for those resources.
Yes.
I think that there's liberals who agree with that, but maybe we need to communicate in a more clear way and have a more honest, nuanced conversation about how to actually get to that goal.
Yes.
Right. And again, more than having a conversation, but maybe normalizing some of the ideas that we're talking about, because just trying to talk to them about it clearly on social media, it doesn't work for that many.
Yeah.
But if we continue to say the same thing over
100%.
and over, just like the right is
we have
doing,
to
it will
flood
be
the
more
zone, as
normalized.
Steve Bannon would say.
And that's what Hasan has been doing, right? Like Hasan is one of the most popular streamers in the world because he has radicalized a lot of people, not because he's the most he's given the most sound arguments, because he talks every single day. You see his face. He's ubiquitous. And then people get curious. What is his political ideology?
That's right.
And a subset of those people read a book, and a subset of those people join an organization.
That's right.
So yes, I'm coming close to your point, or to your perspective on don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
Maybe don't debate Nazis about politics.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't have any
is what it should be called.
I got asked actually recently to be on a debate show. Do you remember the Elephant in the Room debates they used to do with like T.D. Jakes and Mark Driscoll?
Evangelical. Yeah, I remember that.
They were like, hey, we want to do like this style of debate, and these guys were kind of all more conservative, and some of these guys I think they have some good content, and I'm kind of like, come on over here. But they're more right wing or centrist. Sure. We would like you to be like the leftist person. And I was like, I would do that, but it's through an organization called Theos U, which is founded by this guy Nathan Finocchio, who is a fascist. Who like literally he just announced the other day that he's teaching a course at Theos U coming up called In Defense of Colonialism. And what he wrote about it, I wouldn't even want to say it on the podcast because it's so like literally what he said about people was so disgusting, made me want to vomit and throw up. But Oh, I forget what I was saying.
You just weren't going to go debate those guys because
Yeah.
of basically whatever message you would try to, I'm assuming, whatever message you would try to communicate would be warped and twisted by this machine that is trying to get people to go further right. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You're not going to convince anybody.
Oh, yeah. I'm not interested in giving them any voice to flood, to contribute to flooding the zone. I want that to be our voice. You know what I mean?
And there's this idea of deplatforming that was pretty popular in the late 2010s, early 2020s. And I think the right kind of won that conversation, you know, this idea of cancel culture and not platforming individuals. And in the past, I went back and forth on that because I was like, you know, I don't think ideas are necessarily that threatening to me, but I think the nuance that I didn't quite understand that I understand now is just because you can hear an idea and it doesn't do anything to you, the more you normalize and allow things to percolate in the not even the marketplace of ideas, but just among the airwaves.
Yes.
If you continue to give things more oxygen, people will start to gravitate towards the thing. It doesn't matter how insane or crazy it sounds. Just like Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk, all of these guys didn't have necessarily the most persuasive arguments. We go back 15 years, and if we heard some of the things that they're saying, we would have been like, nobody will ever believe this.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but it's become normalized because it's been given a platform over and over and over again.
And maybe the focus doesn't need to be on trying to deplatform them or whatever, but just like, no, F you, like we're gonna platform our voices. I'm not trying to deplatform you. I mean, maybe I am, but what I'm mostly trying to do is platform me.
Right.
And you know, Bannon and the MAGA America First Right, they execute this well. We already talked about him talking about how they flood the zone, right, with messaging. But the other thing is they're actually organizing and building an intellectual vanguard. And you know, a lot of people, this would blow a lot of people's mind, but Bannon openly talks about how he considers himself a Leninist. Now, what he means is the political strategy of Lenin, but not paired with Marxism. So it's not it's not Marxist Leninism. It's a reactionary form of Leninism, where they have built out all of these think tanks that they are churning people through. He said they have 5,000 to 10,000 people in the pipeworks ready to take over the levers of government at every bureaucratic level. The first 3,000 have already been put into place. Like, they are building real political power.
What are these organizations? Because I never hear
the Heritage Foundation, and there's a million little things like that.
Sure. Okay.
There's a million little groups like that. Yeah. And so it's like, well, we have to do that. And a part of that is talking, and a part of that is organizing, and because how do you even know to organize if you don't hear somebody say to organize, right? Because we're all siloed. Nobody actually lives in real community anymore. Yeah. So, exactly. We turn into individual units of, consumption and production, atomized completely into ourselves. And so, we've got to reach people, we've got to point people back towards. And hey, good news is I saw a video the other day. Gary Vee said that analog is in for 2026.
Gary Vee, the all-knowing content. He looks in the crystal ball and he decides what's happening next on social media.
Yeah, I think he tries to manufacture it, really. A lot of people are like, oh, man, this guy tells the future. It's like, no, he told y'all what the future is going to be. And then what did he do? He put the messaging ad nauseum out there, and then people start buying Pokemon cards again. You know what I mean?
What does he mean by analog is back?
He means that like moving away from digital, that like people are going to want to do more in-person stuff, have more in-person meetings, in-person sessions.
How does that help him? Because he's an online guy. What is he?
I don't know. He's just trying to find a way to capitalize on that.
I don't think it takes much insight to say that people are burnt out with
exactly.
Online
it's not really
interaction. I mean, the reality is we're just all addicted to it, right? It's not a matter of nobody likes spending 10 hours on their phone every day, but we do it anyway.
Bro, it sucks. It sucks. I'm with my kids around too, I don't want to train them to see me constantly looking at the phone. I'm always thinking like, what do they see me doing?
Good. Yeah.
Because, your kids learn more from watching you and seeing what you do than, my dad's coming to stay with us for a little while, and I'm just ready for him to like experience my son throwing a fit and me not yell at him. Because I know for him, it's probably going to look like, I'm just, letting him be spoiled. But what I'm actually trying to do is model for him what a regulated nervous system looks like when somebody's freaking out around you, and how to stay calm, right? Because that's what he's actually going to be learning from me.
A lot of people could use that. Adults could use that training.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of us could use that training. Yeah. How do we regulate our nervous system? That dude that made the video about my comment, he was pretty pissed off. He could have used that training. Calm your nervous system. Because he didn't even read what I said. It was just
Bro, same. We'll get into this later. I know we got something else to talk about, but same with my Bad Bunny video.
No, we can get into it.
Half the people that that were talking shit or making videos, because a lot of people were stitching me. I'm like, you didn't even read the video. One dude was like, oh, you need to read Gramsci and learn about cultural hegemony and his idea of the organic intellectual. I'm like, bitch, that is what I say in my video. Can you please watch more than the hook? Some
people only watch 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
And then they get in the comments immediately. They read the headline and then they get in the comments immediately.
Yes, I'm like, the whole thing was about Antonio Gramsci, dumbass. But no, we'll come back to that because we had something else first.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I was gonna maybe talk about is the Obama video. And so Obama talked to Brian Tyler Cohen. He said a lot of things. When he allegedly revealed that aliens are real. I think he tried to take that back a couple of days ago on Twitter.
Who did this?
Obama. He said he was talking to Brian Tyler Cohen, and he said that aliens. He asked him about aliens, and Obama said they're real. I haven't seen them, and they're not underneath the ocean.
Question before we get into the main thing. I saw this clip, and here's what I assumed happened. I saw it, and then I scrolled. I assumed that it was edited, and what happened was I was like, Brian Tyler Cohen probably asked him, "Are these UAE are aliens real?" And Obama said, "No, come on, whatever." And then asked him another question, like, well, what about the UAEs or the UFOs that we see? Is any of that real? And he probably said, yeah, that's real. And it just edited it to make it look like he was answering the alien question.
He said aliens were real.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah, but I think he said it the way he meant it, which is he knows they're real. That's what I think. But then a couple of days later on Twitter, he said, well, the universe is so big, and I assume that aliens are out there.
Oh, come on,
you said what you know. Because he said they're real. He has not seen them. I'm pretty sure you're the president of the United States. And especially after that documentary that came out a few months ago about how, there's people in high places in the government that know aliens. There's been sitting people in Congress even now that have said they know of alien programs. So Obama saying that, yes, they're real in no uncertain terms. I mean, I don't think you can really take that back.
I've always been inclined to think that the psyop or the conspiracy is them trying to make us think, like slow leak information, make us think aliens are real.
So what's the play for that? Because I think it would be the opposite.
I don't know, like just, a distraction, focus you on other things, or they don't want to put out information about a new weapon, because I think everyone thinks that we know about all the weapons that the U.S. government has, but then you hear have you heard about any of the stuff about the weapon they used to capture Maduro?
Yes.
That they just walked in, hit a button, and then everybody in there fell to their knees
down and was about to throw up, couldn't see.
Yeah. So it's like maybe they just have crazy shit like that.
People
that they just want to pretend that they don't have. I
think that's certainly the case.
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily means aliens are real or not real. I 100% agree that they have some weapons that they want us to think are alien weapons, but that started in like the 1945 after Roswell,
right?
Allegedly, right? So I think they got some crazy shit, but I also think that they know aliens are out there.
I believe in AT aliens, but that's about it.
I hope you believe in that.
Yeah.
It's classic. Okay, so let's go to Bad Bunny.
Okay.
So the Super Bowl was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny performed. I thought it was a great Super Bowl performance.
It was fantastic.
I don't speak Spanish. I don't know a whole lot of Bad Bunny's songs, but I just love watching it, and I thought it was a beautiful performance. You didn't go to watch? Did you watch the TPUSA
halftime show?
Remember we talked about that?
Yeah,
on the first episode.
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh my God, you're right. That was like one of the first things we talked about.
Yeah, yeah. Right,
and we did it. Remember we did our pick of like rappers.
Yep. Who's gonna play? They got Kid Rock. I don't know. Did you say Kid Rock?
I think I did. I think I called it like a long time ago. Dude, that's crazy. I should have put money on that on Polybet or something.
Polymarket.
Yeah. No, I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw some clips, but I was just like, I don't want to watch like some grown man bitching and crying about, how people are hurting them. Like, grow the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's like, I just want to smoke my dog, eat my grass, some bullshit like that. It's like, I just want to have my daughter and not people try to tell her she's a man. It's like, dude, take some responsibility. You know what I mean? For your life.
Certainly not my vibe. I went over there just to see how many people were watching it. It was like, maybe like 1 million, 1.2 million, something like that. I'm like, oh, y'all got a little bit. But I mean, the Super Bowl's got what, 100 million or so people watching?
Bro, that was botted because I saw.
Absolutely, it had to be.
Yeah, I saw a clip of XQC and he was like watching it live, and there was like, because there was like multiple different streams, there was like millions, a couple million in the stream, and like he just noticed the chat wasn't moving. And he's like, because then the chat should be going, no, there was a bunch of stuff in there. Like it was like loaded with stuff, but it wasn't moving. And he like comments, he's like, hello, is anybody here? No responses. It's like, oh, these are all bots watching this.
It's no way they got overloaded with people watching. I think it was supposed to be on X, and X cut it at the last minute, so people were pissed.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
But okay, so let's get into this. So you had a take about Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. I watched it immediately, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, you disagree. You text me. You were like,
I did text
bro, this is one of the first times that I really disagree, like hard disagree with, with the take of yours.
I thought it was
and
a cold
Josh,
one.
I'm beyond, that hurt my feelings, bro.
I'm sorry.
I cried.
It had to happen eventually.
I was distraught. No, I was annoyed, not at you, but I was annoyed at a lot of people because I felt like I'm so used to right-wingers engaging with my content, what I felt like was bad faith, and you were not engaging. I'm going to find out because we haven't really talked about it. So I'm going to find out I don't think you're engaging with it in bad faith, but I felt like now all these people who are more liberal or progressive were engaged. Bro, what's his name? The congressman from New York, the former congressman, Jamal Bowman. Jamal Bowman commented on it. It was like, yo, you need to chill. And then it kind of is cool because now I have a relationship with Jamal Bowman because we've been DMing a little bit and he followed me, but I was like, all right,
Okay,
we'll see.
Let's watch. I'll pause it at certain moments, but let's watch it.
The Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show was a good time and full of a lot of important and profound political statements, but it wasn't a political victory, and you need to understand why. And I want to start off by...
That's a great hook, but immediately it's the double-edged sword of a hook.
I know.
When you hook somebody with this ain't good,
right?
Then that's what people gonna react to. But go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, so I just want to point out like what I say, right? That it was a powerful and profound message, right? Because a lot of people hit me like I was saying I disagreed with the message. Powerful, profound message, but it wasn't a political victory. And if I could run that back, I would change my language there slightly to say it wasn't a policy victory.
Yeah, it says Bad Bunny show wasn't a victory.
Yeah, I would also put it in the on-screen text.
I saw that and I was like, huh?
Yeah, because so is that kind of where we don't have to we'll get into it as we go more, but is that kind of where what is your take? Before we even watch it, tell me what your take was on what the video, what do you think I was trying to say?
I'll say two things. One is what I initially heard, which was Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance. There was something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Now that when I digested and listened to everything you said, I was like, okay, it sounds like you're saying that this performance, though it was beautiful, though culturally relevant, though celebratory and, subversive in some ways, it didn't do what we needed it to do because it wasn't actually changing or shifting a policy or it didn't get us anywhere necessarily politically. It had the opportunity to, so we should take it and do something with it.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that because that gives the viewers now as they watch it some context because that's not what I was saying.
Okay.
And maybe that's how me as a communicator.
Bad Bunny isn't just your typical celebrity performing, some kind of political posturing. He's really from a people who have been oppressed by American imperialism. And he's used his platform consistently, not only to speak out about it, but to actually take action in real life, standing in solidarity with his people. And his performance at the Super Bowl this year was no different. But I do think we need to talk about what happened.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to say right there, right? First, what I tried to do there was establish that like this is not just like a empty political performance like you might see from a typical liberal where they don't even really believe in what they're saying. Like this dude is a real, and in my 5,000 word Substack article where I break this down in much more detail, I say he's a organic intellectual, like Antonio Gramsci said, somebody who was born from the working class, who didn't necessarily have to go into the halls of academia to understand how imperialism works and what we have to do to fight against it. And he actually is a real activist. He's actually done things in the real world to fight back against the neo-colonization of his homeland in Puerto Rico, because it is a colony of the United States right now. That's how it functions. They have they get taxed with no representation. We fought a whole revolutionary war over that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I say that, and then I say, and this is a connecting sentence that I think gets lost, and I get it. It gets lost. It's a 3-minute video, but I say, his Super Bowl performance was no different. So what I'm trying to connect right there is his Super Bowl performance is just as powerful and profound and rooted and grounded in like real not organizing, real activism as all this other stuff that he does. This is no different.
Yeah. And I hear all that, but when I first heard it, I'm like trying to put myself in the position of a person who was of Puerto Rican or Latino descent. And I text you this because I'm thinking about like Black Panther.
Yeah.
Though I know these things are different. Like Black Panther, the movie when it first came out, was a cultural moment for Black people.
Yeah.
And the diaspora. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just for Black Americans.
Right.
And so I was trying to put myself in the position of somebody who had a culturally relevant moment on the big stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I saw a white dude get up on social media the day after and say Black Panther was not a victory, I would have been like, nigga, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And if I had said that, I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing.
But it didn't matter because you have to know if you say something like that right afterwards.
Right.
I know exactly what you meant. I know exactly what you said, and I agree with it.
Right.
But you have to understand people going to hear on a short form platform
100%.
that this white dude up here talking about Bad Bunny there was something wrong with Bad Bunny's performance. Right. I want to hear nothing else you got to say.
Right. Which is why I appreciated a lot of my, Puerto Rican comrades that came into the comments to tell all the white liberals who were telling me that that I need to shut up and not tell Puerto Ricans how to feel. All my Puerto Rican comrades that were coming to comments and being like, nah, what he said is right. Now there were Puerto Ricans that said the opposite thing too.
Yeah. I'm gonna say like I feel like both things, we should have space for both. Yeah. You should have space for people to take and listen very carefully to what you said and agree. And I think people should. But I also think that people who heard like, oh, there's something wrong with it, I think that in that moment, people are experiencing joy. People are experiencing seeing their culture on display in a moment where people are being dehumanized. And I think that humanizing celebratory message is radical in and of itself. Yeah. And I think it does, back to don't talk about politics.
I agree.
I think that message in and of itself is something that is powerful and should not. I think if nobody said anything, if we didn't do anything else afterwards, I think it would be a message that would be profound.
Oh, no, I disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, I disagree. And I think Bad Bunny would disagree with that. Like, you think Bad Bunny would be like, oh man, I'm so glad this made people feel good. Please do not do anything to free my people.
Sorry. That's not what I meant. I think what I'm trying to say is like seeing a humanizing message in and of itself is
has
a good
value.
Thing.
100%.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
and I agree
with
of course,
that.
like even back to Black Panther, of course, like seeing Black people, in a light that they hadn't been put on display in a big screen. Of course, like if you just put on a nice dashiki and you go there and do this and celebrate, like that is a good thing. But if you just go home and go back to sleep, then of course that's not ultimately the goal. Yeah. So all right,
let's finish it and then and let's let it run and we'll talk about it at the end.
Okay.
When genuinely meaningful cultural moments get staged inside the most profitable corporate entertainment infrastructure in America. Because despite the beautiful Pan-American sentiment and the genuinely anti-colonial messaging, if we allow ourselves to feel like some kind of victory was actually won just because of the messaging and the spectacle, then we risk our anger and our activism being pacified.
Hold on. I gotta stop.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lawyer, you.
Yeah.
You said if we try to act like some sort of victory was won.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I would say that a little bit differently. In full transparency, I was like late to pick up my kids from daycare. But in what I was trying to say is like some kind of like real world political victory was won. Because in my context, I was watching it with a bunch of white liberals that were high fiving each other. Like, yeah, we owned MAGA. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and some of those people might watch this podcast. I'm not hating on. I was one of you. I had the same reaction.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like reacting. This video was a reaction to myself, being like, hey, like, this is amazing. Let's actually harness this energy to actually do something to stop ICE, to actually do something to, liberate Puerto Rico, right? I said something right there that I'm forgetting now. Run it back. Can you pull it back like 5 seconds and play?
Messaging, if we allow ourselves to feel like some kind of victory was actually won just because of the messaging and the spectacle, then we risk our anger and our activism being pacified. In his book, Capitalist Realism, Mark Fisher explains how capitalism has become so totalizing that even our resistance can get absorbed and sold back to us. I think about the context of the performance, in between commercials designed to make us feel something sentimental just to sell us stuff. A truly sinister example is the Ring doorbell commercial that sold us this idea of having our lost animals and pets found because they have a network of cameras throughout your neighborhood and the AI talks to each other and you can find your dog. That's a message that feels good. Who doesn't like neighbors helping each other find their dog? When in reality, what's being sold is a corporate surveillance panopticon that watches our every move and then reports our information back to ICE so they can terrorize our neighbors. Antonio Gramsci called this cultural hegemony. Capitalism doesn't just reproduce itself through economics, but through culture by manufacturing consent and producing symbols of progress that legitimize the system itself. It creates the illusion that the system works, that this is all inclusive, that change is happening.
Yeah, pause
even
it. Like,
as the fundamental.
Like, yeah, like, look, like, now, I'm not saying this is Bad Bunny's message wasn't this. This is why I say, if we're not careful, we risk losing this. We risk allowing capital to absorb the message, the powerful message that should be used to mobilize people, by couching it around all of these other things in capitalism to make us feel like this is all progressive, like this. It connects that emotion that good emotion that everyone should be feeling. And like I say in my Substack article, Puerto Ricans should feel joy. All Latin Americans should feel joy. Don't stop anybody from feeling joy. That would be bad. That's dumb. But we also shouldn't let capitalism quench the prophetic fire that message had. I think about like Barack Obama swearing in on Martin Luther King's Bible. And, Cornel West, he went off about that, right? And he's like, this guy out here who is drone striking children, who is promoting American imperialism, militarism, all these things that Dr. King was a prophetic voice in opposition to. By using Malcolm's Bible, he is quenching his prophetic fire. He is telling it creates an association that tells everybody, hey, if you like Martin Luther King, he's with us. And so that's not what Bad Bunny was doing.
Yeah,
I still think Bad Bunny should do the presentation. I think he should have done it.
Okay.
But what capitalism wants to do is then make sure that you associate the critique of capitalism with capitalism. It's like this. Zizek tells this joke, right? About, and this just kind of fits in with, I was going to say this when we were talking about Obama earlier, that like you have two different kinds of parenting that are both authoritarian, but one we think is progressive and liberal, but it's actually the most authoritarian. The one that most people think is most authoritarian is, son, we are going to see your grandmother, whether you like it or not. Shut up, we're going. The one that seems progressive and open, but is actually more authoritarian, is the dad that says, we're going to go see your grandmother, and your grandmother loves you very much. And if you don't like going to see her, you're really going to hurt her feelings, because not only is he telling you what to do, he's telling you how you have to feel about it. Right. And so they're creating like this association. So what I'm saying is not Bad Bunny performing here creates this association. No. It's, if we're not careful, we have to be mindful of the ways in which capitalism will want to do this.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm trying to understand, like, is it the right time to have this conversation? And I think,
when is the right time to be?
That's what I was going to say.
Opposed to imperialism. I guess I should wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I grew up in a predominantly Puerto Rican community in North Philadelphia. Yeah. I don't think any Puerto Rican has ever needed my permission to feel joy. I don't think I have ever been able to stop out a Latino person's joy, Puerto Rican person's joy. Yo me boricuas mi gente, right? Like that's just like a crazy idea to me.
I think what I'm trying to say is that you can be right, and be wrong, right? Like you can be right in that the analysis is correct, but in a particular context, if people hear that and say, "Yeah, I don't think I want to hear this right now," they can be right in feeling that way, even if you are correct.
Yeah, of course.
If in your analysis. So I'm just trying to hold space for those two tensions, because I think sometimes on the left,
feel however they want to feel.
Like leftists can be seen as fixating on the analysis to the point where we can't let a cultural moment be something that is necessary and needed without adding something on top of it and saying there's something else that in this moment, right? Like in a specific context. It's not the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. But we can have that conversation at another point. But if I'm sitting in a space where like I'm in the 1950s and somebody tells me, I'm Black and I'm proud, and I feel some sort of cultural identity, and that's being shaped and formed, right?
Yes.
Like I think if I have that conversation and that's the end of it for that day, I think we can go home and sleep and wake up tomorrow and have the conversation about class and the anti-capitalist part of it, right? I'm just trying to, I don't feel 100% certain about this. I'm trying to work this out for myself. Sure. But that's the tension that I feel with this conversation. For
me, I think about like a similar situation with Kendrick from last year, because there were people who had a similar critique of Kendrick's show, like this isn't really blah, blah, blah. And I actually was on the opposite side of the argument and still would be. I defended the show because I think that the context of the moment changes what the approach or analysis should be. Sure. And like in that moment, America's never stopped, abusing like our Black brothers and sisters. This has never happened. Right. But there was no we weren't like at a choke point. Right now, like ICE is like in a very serious way destroying lives every day, disappearing people every day off of our streets, sending them to concentration camps. And so I don't mean to say like, hey, and that's why I say in this stuff like, hey, you got to feel the joy. That's important. Like, don't tell anybody not to feel joy.
Right.
But like, while the iron is hot, we have to strike.
And that's where I feel you.
And say, don't not feel joy. Instead, hey, all that joy and excitement that we feel, that victory that we feel, we have to utilize that and harness that. Right. You know what I mean? It's like trying to close a sale on somebody. They get all excited and you're like, let me wait till you calm down before I actually try to make this happen. No. A salesperson, they want to close on you when you are the most excited and hype about the product and the situation in their pitch. So to me, the Bad Bunny show was a pitch, right? And I'm going, hey, let's do something with this pitch. Let's close.
Yeah, I feel you. I also am like, we're already moving, right? Like, and again, I think I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm disagreeing slightly with the deficit framework. Like there's something missing, or there's something missing with this moment.
There's nothing missing from the moment. It did what it was supposed to do. Right. But back to the book, both things have to exist. Like talking about politics is just talking about politics. And I just want to say one analysis that I haven't pointed out that I think is really integral to why I wanted to make the video is because what you just said unlocked it. You're like, we already are doing stuff. Right. And what I fear when I look at stuff is I fear that that what capitalism wants to do is present this moment of cultural victory to satisfy and quench,
to stop the movement, instead of keeping the momentum going,
to stop the movement.
I feel you.
Just like how they put up, Beyonce in doing Black Panther aesthetic in her Super Bowl performance, which is crazy. No Black Panther politics, but they did it precisely at a moment when tensions were up about Black Lives Matter, and that's not my analysis. This is analysis that comes from a lot of Black leftists and doing dialectical material analysis. They go, that is a strategic move to try to say, give a dog a bone, right? Like y'all are going after the meat. Don't go after the meat. Here's a bone. Just take that bone. And I'm saying like, no. You like the way that bone tastes? Let it make you hungry. Let's go get the meat.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that.
Right.
So I'm just trying to make that clear. Like, the tension that I'm holding, and I wouldn't even have this, to your point about Kendrick, I wouldn't say the same thing about what Beyonce was doing, because that was foolishness. It's the Black Panthers that you're not just talking about Black people in general. This is the Black Panthers that you're defanging. Yeah. Right. But in this, I'm like, okay, there's a moment here that seems unprecedented. I completely agree with you. We should be taking this and continuing to move towards action. Yeah. But and I won't say, I will stop short of saying that you did this, but I think in general there's this idea and there's this tension that folks on the left who are white can communicate that race is less important. And I know that's not you. Yeah. But I'm always cognizant of that reality when we have these sort of conversations.
I always just care about like the material reality that people are experiencing more. And honestly, bro, like there were a lot of other critiques from leftists that I saw merit in, but I chose not to put in my video because I felt specifically like it would denigrate the message that and make people feel joy. Like, for example, a lot of people were correctly pointing out that Bad Bunny, he's right on all these points about Pan-Americanism and about, Puerto Rican independence and stuff, but he has refused to speak out on ICE. He's working with Israeli producers. He's got deals with Israeli companies. He brought Lady Gaga, who is a Zionist, that has refused to say anything about, and gave her 90 seconds of his show to do a song that she didn't even perform with him. Why'd they do that? He wore Zara. He made a conscious choice to wear Zara to the thing. So a lot of leftists were like pointing all that stuff out. The reason I didn't was I was trying to make the conscious choice of like, you know what? Even though I think there's some merit in that, I think we need to let people experience that moment on a high, for the good elements of it. We don't have to point out the critiques. That's why I never critiqued his video or his performance in any way, shape, or form. I only praised it and then tried to say, let's do something with this energy. It feels great.
Yeah. I think if you could go back, and I think you said this, is one, change the heading. Don't say it wasn't a victory.
I would have said it's not a policy victory.
Say you're talking to white people.
Well, yeah.
Not like completely, but like you're in your mind's eye. It sounded like
I've thought about how I would say
target audience, but of course it's not a message specifically only to the exclusion of everybody else, just the white people. But there is like a message. It sounds like you were having towards people who were
towards the white liberal.
Like, I'm a liberal. We won, and I'm not even engaged in resistance. But I feel good about this.
Yes.
And that 100%.
Yeah, because we have so much energy momentum, anti-ICE momentum building up. I'm like, yo, they're clearly trying to use this to like pacify. Yeah. To go like, here you go. We had this great win.
And this is back to a conversation we had a few weeks ago, right after the Minnesota situation was popping off, where tensions were high, strikes were being talked about. They did have a strike in Minnesota.
Right.
People were feeling high pressure around organizing, right? And Trump, what did he do? He pulled the people out of Minnesota. They put Bad Bunny up on the Super Bowl. So you can start to see us kind of want to sit back in our chair and relax.
Right.
And so I'm with you that we have to be careful not to be pacified or to get a little bit too relaxed when in reality they're just going to send ICE somewhere else. They're going to be a little bit more covert, but they are continuing the same fascist push across the nation.
That's exactly
it. And if we get too comfortable, then that's what they want.
And if I wanted to pour ice, water on the parade, or I don't know what the correct saying is, right? If I wanted to rain out their parade, I would have said all that other stuff and pointed all other stuff out instead of saying like, hey, we should celebrate this. Yes, if I could go back, I would say the Bad Bunny show wasn't a political victory. I would identify white liberals. And I would also say right up front, because I do essentially say this, but I would just make it clearer. The Bad Bunny show was a cultural victory. Yeah. The Bad Bunny show was a messaging victory. Yeah. And if we want to convert those into policy victories so we can actually get ICE out of our streets and liberate our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico, then we have to actually do something with it.
Keep the foot pedal to the metal, keep organizing.
I would say it differently.
Yeah. And that's fair. Okay. I think we hashed that out pretty well.
Do we even want to finish it?
No, I don't even think we need to finish
that. Means, hey, listen, viewer, if you don't want to finish it, go to @ColtonBarnaby.
There you go.
On Instagram, finish the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that.
We subscribing on Instagram now?
Whatever it is. They do have a subscribe button that you
can do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I can actually activate right now. I could activate a subscribe button, which would allow you to be able to give me $5 a month and get access to exclusive content on Instagram.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah. I'm not doing that though.
Well, man, this was good. Our first in-studio episode. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap it up?
Not too much. I mean, hey, all of y'all, like this costs money. You know what I mean? Tell us, did you enjoy this a little bit more? Should we keep doing this?
Yep.
Or do you like it looking like, we're doing it with my Fisher Price iPhone and
the audio's a little muffled sometimes.
I don't know what it is with the editing software. Sometimes it sounds right and then it comes back on the back end and it just sucks. Nah, dude, I'm just gonna say like I'm fired up and excited about what we can do with this podcast. I think that if people listen to this, we will change the world. No, I'm just playing.
Our minds.
Yeah, not just playing.
We need to have, like I said, maybe we need to do a Jubilee episode. Instead of me sitting here, you can bring on Nick Fuentes.
Oh my gosh, dude. He don't live too far from us.
Unfortunately, yeah. We might. Hopefully, I really don't want to cross paths with that guy.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I will say this. I did see a clip because I get Nick Fuentes clips from time to time. You probably do too, or else you wouldn't know who Nick Fuentes is. But he actually had a fun. He was talking about the Turning Point halftime show, and he was roasting them, and it was kind of funny. But you know what? That
He
makes
doesn't like Turning Point though.
yeah, I know.
So
And
it's long-standing beef that he's just
and it's
piling
kind of
on
like,
with.
you know, these guys do that though. They give like decently good takes on stuff a lot of times, and then he gets into your algorithm, and then you start hearing him more and more, and it's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
He starts to slowly
radicalize.
ooze in, radicalize you. And but yeah, bro. No, I just think you know, I'm excited to continue on with the podcast. This is episode 11. I can't believe we've been doing it this long.
Yeah, 11 of however many we're gonna do. I don't know. Do we ever want to do seasons? Season 1, season 2? I feel like up until the last one was like a season 1.
Yeah, we should probably figure that out.
Think about that.
What do you guys think? We asked the
Yeah,
viewers,
what do y'all
and
think?
tell us like, what do you guys want to hear more about? Did you like the way we did this? Do you like it when we watch more videos and react more to videos?
Yep.
Let
us know.
What can we do to make this a little bit more interesting for y'all?
Yep. Comment, subscribe. Check out our Patreon that we just launched. Check us out over there. We got some exclusive content coming for y'all eventually. So, yeah, man, it's been good.
I'm pumped. All right, peace out, y'all.
Peace.